Who was Anakin Skywalker's father according to George Lucas himself, if not the Force? In canon and legends, it has somewhat been explored in multiple ways. George Lucas, though, originally had written Anakin's father to reveal himself in the prequel trilogy. From the plethora of hints we have seen in the expanded universe and canon, from hints that the father, a force wielder of Mortis, had intended at least some way Anakin to be his official replacement to bring balance to the world and the galaxy at large, to Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious's ill-fated Sith sorcery in James Luceno's Legends novel Darth Plagueis, where the force push back as they had gone too far trying to create life. Now, many have believed it to be, as stated in the movies, a virgins in the Force born of midichlorians and other unknown means, basically making Anakin heavily regarded as a parallel of Jesus Christ born to suffer for the betterment of the galaxy, which unfortunately the last statement was something reporters allegedly used to ask a 10-year-old Jake Lloyd about, which is admittedly pretty messed up to throw at a kid. While these theories all hold value in their own ways, what most people don't know, myself included until I stumbled upon it recently, is that George Lucas, in his early drafts of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, intended to solve the question openly, and have Anakin's father reveal himself, a la Darth Vader to Luke in Empire Strikes Back.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
However, for reasons unknown, he cut the dialogue, though it is clear why he added it. You see, George Lucas had somewhat become enamored, for better or worse, that the prequels rhyme with the sequels, something called the Star Wars ring theory.
You see the echo of where it all's going to go. It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Now, obviously doing the whole "I am your father" shtick, one of the most memorable lines in Star Wars history, immediately seems like a bad idea. The real question is, who would deliver the line, and where would it take place, and how would it look? Well, the answer is Emperor Palpatine. The why originally was part of Anakin Skywalker's seduction, which was later scrapped in favor of the strength of using his fear of losing Padme during childbirth. Now, here is the official exchange written in a draft by Lucas that was pulled from the final cut between Anakin and Palpatine on Coruscant. Originally, what we saw was his seduction failing and he goes to the council. Palpatine was going to pull this trick out of his sleeve instead in the original draft. Darth Sidious says, "I've waited all these years for you to fulfill your destiny. I arranged for your conception. I used the power of the Force to will the midichlorians to start cell divisions that created you." So that line shows that Sidious knew how to create life. He did learn from Darth Plagueis the last thing that he needed before he killed him, and openly stated to Anakin, "Hey, I did this with you, therefore, obviously, I can do it with Padme." And that makes sense that would help motivate him to come to the dark side, though it's very clunky and people don't really understand midichlorians. Anakin follows up with, "I don't believe you." "Ah, but you know it's true," says Sidious. "When you clear your mind, you will sense the truth. You could almost think of me as your father." Anakin gasps and says, "That's impossible." I added the gasp, but clearly he's going to yell, "That's impossible," or say it in some way that mirrors Luke, hence the ring theory comes to fruition. Now Darth Sidious replies, "Nevertheless, you must decide." Now, a few things. First, it's probably a smart move, being that a short "I made midichlorians do it" would be a hard pill to swallow for the greater audience, especially as the backlash was already so high. Though clearly Luceno did a beautiful job of taking this throwaway line and making it viable in Darth Plagueis, it was unfortunately never introduced into canon, and it would have, as I said before, been a great catalyst and motivator as to why Anakin believed Sidious could bring Padme and the kid will save them, basically. If he brought him to life, clearly he could save people from dying. Now, second, the acting would have had to have been amazing. Scratch that. I don't think there is any way in my mind they could get away with the "I am your father, that is impossible, search your feelings" shtick. The first time with Vader, the revelation nearly broke Skywalker after a tense duel broke out. Palpatine casually revealing this revelation as a button on his dark side turn was innately far less potent than utilizing his fear of losing Padme to orchestrate his downfall. It was better that Anakin believed him at face value that he could do it, and he was already pathetically throwing himself at him. He didn't need that extra step over the line that Palpatine could save Padme, not just to hear say, oh, go kill these kids so you're stronger in the dark side. If he could somehow prove I'm your dad and this is what I can do with the Force, I can believe the younglings a little bit better. Now also, if you view Star Wars through the new eyes of Darth Vader was Palpatine's offspring the whole time, and Palpatine knew, it does change a few key elements. Being, when Palpatine first meets a young Anakin, he says he'll watch his career with great enthusiasm. Clearly, he was nefarious, but that takes it to a new level. Their sustained close relationship, and why Palpatine favored Anakin so highly, and why Palpatine would desperately want Padme out of the picture. If he knew that his grandkids would also probably live, he would want them as backup. And most importantly, his soft spot for Vader. Sith value one thing above all else: strength. When Anakin lost to Obi-Wan, Palpatine had already ensured his victory over the galaxy. He'd lost apprentices before like Darth Maul and Dooku and seemed totally unfazed. It always baffled me how he chose to revive a broken Anakin. I mean, sure, he had a pathetic Sith puppet to remind him of his fruitions of his machinations as he ruled the Empire unimpeded, and an apprentice who wouldn't try and kill him anytime soon. I mean, if he said those lines, he would know how to create life. He was pretty much set, and he probably wouldn't need somebody to rise up against him. However, if he believed he had achieved supreme victory, he could find a new apprentice at his leisure, a totally unbroken one. I always suspected that any other Sith would see their apprentice half dead after they'd tricked the entire galaxy. They would do one of two things. A, force push them into lava for being weak. B, tell them, hey, if you survive your wounds, somehow make it back to Coruscant from Mustafar, I would say you're still worthy of the mantle of Sith. Otherwise, you deserve your fate. I'm gonna go rule the galaxy. But the beauty of this video is it is just the start of the discussion. Our love for Star Wars surrounds and it binds us together. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these Palpatine lines cut by Lucas in the final film? Should they have stayed in, they would have changed the dynamic of so much. However, pulling off the I am your father thing twice, I think Lucas knew that that would be a real hill to climb. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out immensely and I appreciate it. Because if you love Star Wars, I want to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that, my friends. If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Always.